President Trump's tariffs can proceed. Today, a federal appeals court reversed a ruling yesterday from the Court of International Trade that blocked the tariffs. Scripps News Group's Ava Joy Burnett looks at what it could mean for consumers and the economy.
A federal appeals court allowing President Trump's sweeping tariffs to stand for now after a federal trade court on Wednesday blocked most of them. But the trade court's decision already rippled through the economy. The major stock market indexes rallying at the start of Thursday, but tapered off over confusion about where trade policy stands, and businesses facing whiplash as many of the White House's on-again, off-again tariffs appeared temporarily to be on hold.
It's absolutely another curveball thrown to businesses that are operating internationally.
That includes Sarah Wells Bags, a small business that makes breastfeeding apparel and bags for new parents and manufactures its products in China. Its owner initially celebrated the court's decision.
I think this is a victory for small businesses and for American consumers. We're headed in the right direction.
But even then, there were new questions about what the tariff block would mean for imports coming into the U.S.
Everyone is confused. Do I have to pay the tariff today? What if it's already on the water? What if I put my container on the water tomorrow? How will that impact me? And I think it's really that uncertainty that is causing so much stress on businesses.
The pivots in tariff policy could mean delays at ports. But with the playing field for businesses and consumers changing sometimes by the hour, it's hard to predict what's next. Ava Joy Burnett, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Joining us now to discuss the latest developments is international trade lawyer David Stepp. Thank you, David, for joining us today.
Thank you, Cam.
And thank you. Give us a deeper dive into yesterday's ruling by the Court of International Trade before we go forward.
Sure. The Court of International Trade is a federal district court that's based out of New York, and there was a three-judge panel that decided the case. Interestingly, two of the judges were Republican nominees, one from Reagan, one by Trump, and the other one by President Obama. So the court issued a ruling yesterday that invalidated the IEEPA tariffs, the so-called IEEPA tariffs. IEEPA is a statute, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. And the president relied on that statute based on the fact that there was a national emergency at the border and economically with all of the imports and the trade deficits. And the court decided that the president exceeded his authority that was granted under IEEPA, and therefore mainly because the national emergency requirement had not been sufficiently met in their opinion.
And then what was the administration's main argument that led to today's decision by the appeals court to pause that?
Yeah, so the appeals court today, similar outcome. They invalidated the tariffs. The appeals court in the district court, federal district court there in D.C., stated that under IEEPA, in their opinion, the president did not have the power to assess tariffs in any way, as opposed to the Court of International Trade that said maybe tariffs are appropriate, but not in this situation based on the facts that were available.
What happens next?
Interesting. So the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit in Washington, D.C. Issued an administrative stay today of the Court of International Trade action. So things will be held in abeyance, but that decision was not on the merits. It's to give them time to take a look at the filings and determine whether a longer-term stay is appropriate in this situation. So right now, things stay as they have been until the court decides what to do. If they lift that stay, I suspect the Trump administration is probably going to seek a pretty quick appeal up to the Supreme Court, but it remains to be seen.
What impact do you see this having on businesses, on importers, and when it could happen as well?
Yeah, so as everyone and as folks have probably been reading about, it's been a big impact on businesses that rely on imports. Duties have been quite high, although they've come down recently for China. I think it remains to be seen, but I think there will be tariffs in place certainly until the appeals court decide what they're going to be doing. The port traffic has really come down as well at the ports in Southern California. So we expect things to everyone to be listening to see what's going to happen. But I suspect going forward, if the administration's efforts here to impose these tariffs under IEEPA, if they're ruled to be invalid, I suspect the administration, and they've actually already promised, to impose similar tariffs under other statutes that are out there. So stay tuned. I don't think this is over yet.
Yeah, and it's changed by the day the last couple of days as well. David Stepp, international attorney and expert on this subject, we really appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.